My first stop was at Shimbashi, located next to Ginza, a lively district that's home to some of the best izakayas enjoyed by the so-called salarymen of Japan. A few blocks down the Shimbashi Nishiginza Dori Street is our first stop, Ramen Horiuchi, a classic style ramen shop where you can see local businessmen stopping by for a soothing bowl of ramen for dinner or as a late night meal after a round of drinks. This was my first meal after a long flight, and so I was very excited. I first went to the kenbaiki, the ticket vending machine, which takes care of all your order and payment. The atmosphere was really quiet. This is certainly not a touristy shop. I saw mostly Japanese businessmen just enjoying their meal by themselves. I first got a glass of highball served in an ice cold glass. So I got the Natto Ramen today, which is their signature dish. Natto, as you know, is Japanese style sticky fermented beans. I love them for their rich taste, and I think it was a great idea to make a ramen dish with natto. The noodle was a very soft kind, almost similar to an udon, especially the inaniwa udon. Their onsen tamago was on the larger side with the egg yolk cooked to perfection. I really liked this dish starting with the noodles. It was on the thicker side, but again really soft, so it absorbed the richness of the soup and the natto really well. On top of that, the noodles picked up these flakes of nori or seaweed, so there's an extra layer of rich taste. As you can see, I really enjoyed the soup. It's made with both chicken and pork bone, so it's rather toned down, not like your intense tonkotsu soup. It's relatively clear and there's a hint of shoyu in it. Their chashu is relatively meaty but really soft. When you walk in, you'll see a huge pot with chashu being slow cooked. The chashu has just the right amount of pork scent, and they serve a few good pieces, so no need to order extra. Once I'm halfway through my ramen, I always enjoy it with some extra condiments, usually vinegar, pepper, and shichimi, just to add a kick to the soup, as if creating a new dish. All in all, this was a very satisfactory ramen. The natto creates a really interesting texture and adds a unique fermented scent on top of an already super classic ramen. And I'd like to give this place a 4.5 stars. Early next morning, I headed to a ramen shop known to be open for 24 hours. This one is located in the Golden Gai of Kabukicho Shinjuku, once a really busy red light district that has turned into a bustling district of over 200 bars and restaurants. On one of their 6 narrow alleys is a hole-in-the-wall ramen shop where people are lining up by the wall from 8 a.m. in the morning. Some interesting signs on the wall, conveniently written in English for a lot of the tourists, including a message saying that ramen is considered a fast food where you just come in, enjoy the food, and leave. No time for chit-chatting. And another funny sign saying you cannot remove the pork from the soup. As you walk up the stairs full of red neon lights, you'll see these paintings of anchovies, which is exactly the theme of this ramen, where they use over 20 kinds of Niboshi or Japanese anchovies to make an intensely rich soup. I got their Tokusai special Niboshi ramen, a Nagi rice, and of course some Sapporo beer. This place is really small. There are only about 10 countertop seats. Really quiet, and again, a good place for you to just focus on your meal. There were 2 employees. Both were really nice and seemed to know how to interact with foreigners. Finally got my special Niboshi ramen, which looked amazing. First of all, it was really well portioned with 4 solid pieces of chashu and everything served in a really big bowl. This was the Nagi rice, where a bowl of white rice is served with some miso paste mixed with Niboshi. You can see here they have 2 types of noodles, the original medium thick noodle and also the flat itame noodle. You see some whole pieces of anchovies and a small onsen tamago all wrapped in a large piece of nori. This is their nagi rice. I'm trying to mix the nagi miso paste with some katsuobushi. So one of their biggest features was the 2 types of noodles, the original medium thick and the flat noodle. The flat noodle had a really soft, almost silky nature and makes this dish so much more interesting. I really liked their chashu. It was a lean cut, but they knew how to add a really umami soy sauce crust on the outside. Probably the most notable is their Niboshi anchovy soup. You have a little bit of that sharp anchovy taste, but certainly not fishy. Not as heavy as your tonkotsu, but certainly has a rich density, unlike your regular shoyu ramen. Once I was done with the ramen, I went to my nagi bowl, an interesting dish where rice was served with this really dense, salty paste of niboshi and katsuobushi bonito flakes. You mix everything up really well and you'll spread that really dense niboshi paste out into the rice and be able to taste the richness of the niboshi on a different level. This was probably my lifetime best ramen. It does not compare to most of the tonkotsu ramen that I have in the US or even in Japan, and I'd give this place 5 stars without hesitation. Next, I want to show you Tokyo's hottest tsukemen or dipping noodles. Located near Shinjuku Station, Gonokami Seisakusho is liked by locals and foreigners alike. Their signature is the Shrimp Tomato Tsukemen, a really interesting dish that I obviously have never tried before. After about a good 20 to 30 minute wait, we were seated at the bar top. This place definitely had a more lively, modern atmosphere. I got the shrimp tomato tsukemen, where the noodles looked amazing and the tsukemen sauce looked really rich with this bright red and some shrimp fat, and I saw chunks of tomatoes and actually even mozzarella cheese. As a true tsukemen should, the noodle was solid. It was a thick, straight noodle with a really savory scent and chewy texture. I tried a few noodles on their own without the sauce. Then I dipped the noodle into this rich sauce, and the noodle absorbed the sauce really well. The shrimp and the tomato were in great harmony, with a touch of sweetness from the shrimp. There was some basil pesto paste, which I guess they're trying to create an Italian feel to it. Their toppings include some fresh lettuce and slow cooked chicken thigh for your protein. The guy next to me was, I think, ordering some extra soup, which is a common way to continue enjoying your tsukemen if you have some extra noodle left. Overall, it was a great tsukemen, really solid noodles. The shrimp tomato sauce actually went really well. Also, I can see that they're trying to make the dish tailored more to the younger generation, as everything looked really pretty and fresh. So it didn't have the same sort of impression as the Nagi ramen, but it was definitely worth trying, and I may go back for some of their other dish. So I'd give this place a 4 stars. My last stop for this episode is located in the Haneda International Airport. After you check in, there's a food court where you will see Rokurinsha, one of Tokyo's best tsukemen shop. As a ramen mania, I wanted to get the best ramen until the end of my trip. 一番レギュラーで1つと餃子6個1つお願いします。10 minutes okay? 中華並シングルです。While they're known for their tsukemen, I got the shoyu tonkotsu ramen today, since I got the tsukemen yesterday and I've tried their tsukemen before. And I also got an order of gyoza. Their noodle was pretty classic, of medium thickness. They also had lots of green scallion and menma. Their chashu was on the soft side. They served 2 slices and some onsen tamago. The most memorable was that the tonkotsu soup was really thick and you can feel the pork from deep inside, which some people may like or may not like. Otherwise, everything was in harmony and no one ingredient stood out. I do think their tsukemen is indeed the signature dish, and I wonder if there's a slight difference in the quality between here and the location in Tokyo Station. If you're curious about the quality of the tsukemen from the original location, please visit one of my earlier videos on Tokyo Food Tour. Nevertheless, it is a solid ramen that you can enjoy at the Haneda Airport before your departure, and represents the role of ramen in Japanese cuisine, where you can enjoy it very conveniently anywhere you go. Overall, I'd give this place a 3.5 stars. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I will be back with another episode on Japanese ramen, and stay tuned for my upcoming episodes for the hottest food in Japan and Korea.